OpenAI just released GPT-5 and they claim it as their strongest coding model to date. They say it has particular improvements in complex front-end generation and debugging larger repositories. They go so far to show examples in their announcement blog post of what can be done with GPT-5 in one prompt, like this rolling ball mini game and pixel art, typing game, drum simulator, and lo-fi visualizer. However, we need to put this model to the test ourselves. And the way we've been doing that in this video series is by giving the same prompt to each new model and evaluating how well they fulfill that prompt. All right, for those of you that have been following the series, you know what the prompt is, but for those that don't, we're prompting it to create a secure Node application that is production ready and has no security vulnerabilities because my job depends upon it. Now, one thing we're gonna differ from the past videos is I'm gonna test this out in agentic mode with and without a security MCP server. So we're first gonna start without one in this case. We're gonna hit run and let it go do its thing without an MCP server and see what kind of results we get. All right, quick update. It finished what it was doing. However, it's not able to run locally on my Windows machine. So what I'm gonna do is open up a GitHub code space so that that's a Linux-based system and environment, run npm install and try to run it from there and see how it goes. All right, I'm running npm install up in this GitHub code space, which is a Linux-based environment. The install is running a little bit more smoothly than I was working on Windows. But one thing I wanted to call out that I've noticed here is that a lot of these packages that GPT-5 chose for the project are not really reliable in the sense of like CSRF here, right? This package is archived and no longer maintained. It's being deprecated on npm. This package is no longer supported from npm log at 602 and so on and so forth. All right, npm install finally finished. It had to like build JIP or something like that. And now we're gonna run npm start. It says localhost is running on port 3000. Make sure that port is being... So let's go check it out in the browser. All right, we're in the browser, localhost 3000, hitting enter, and boom, we get an error. Title is not defined. All right, this version built with GPT-5 is just not running fully. It's got an error in it. We can use it to fix itself, but for the sake of time, this is just the state that it came in with that one-shot prompt. All right, next up, we're gonna check the security of the code and dependencies that this GPT-5 outputted. We're gonna use Snyk to do that. When we run the scan against open source security, we see that there are two medium severity issues. One in this particular package, the CSRF one. We've talked about this plenty of times before on the channel. You know the drill with that one. And it's a common occurrence with these models. And then in addition to that, we have this one from in-flight connect SQL 3 dependency, which is missing release of resource after effective lifetime. So not huge issues, they're medium severity ones, but it's a common occurrence that keeps happening with these latest models. Now we move on to the code security that the GPT wrote itself. And we have 6 medium severity issues in that. All of them being this allocation, 4 of them being allocation of resources, 1 cross-site request forgery, and 1 information exposure problem that we have in here. So goes to show you that GPT-5 did an okay job in terms of generating a project, not runnable right out of the bat, and having a few medium severity vulnerabilities that were called out here. So where does that leave us? Next up, we're gonna have GPT-5 run in agentic mode with a security MCP server. We're gonna use the Snyk MCP server to instruct it along with rules, cursor rules, to tell it to leverage that server, that tool call, so that it can maybe come up with a better result and project as output than what we just saw when not using a security MCP server. So in order to do that, I needed to create a couple of cursor rules. So there's a cursor folder, .cursor folder, and then a rules folder under that. And within there, I created a bunch of rules files. The way you can go about doing that, if you're not familiar with this, like you go Control-Shift-P, bring up the command palette, or Command-Shift-P on macOS, and you choose File, New Cursor Rule. You give it a name, and you go through the whole prompt, and you can do all that. What it ends up resulting in is something like this, where it has like metadata at the top, and then the rules and descriptions that's going to be added to the context for the model to understand and behave the way you expect it to. Now, that's just the first part. The other part where you need to make sure with Cursor, unlike other tools where it will just pick up those rules for you when you set them up, here you need to add that as context. So we're going to go in and we're going to click on add context. We're going to add these rules and we're going to check all of the rules that are found here. In addition to that, I know that part of my rules is going to be looking up things on the web. So I'm going to add that as well, that capability, web searching right there. And with that, now I can add the prompt that we used before in the first part of this video and send it into, make sure we're on agent mode and GPT-5. And then we're good and running, and we'll see how this compares to the previous version without using any cursor rules or MCP servers. So right off the bat, Cursor and GPT-5 use the corresponding rules to look up the packages that it wants to use as dependencies using Snyk Advisor to make sure that it has a good health score, which is a great sign that it's following the rules we expect. It's implementing some of the security constraints that we want and guidelines that we want as it builds out this project. Now, if you're not familiar with Snyk Advisor, let me show you really quick while this is continuing to work in the background. So Snyk Advisor is a free tool up on the website snyk.io/advisor. Link will be in the description below. And you could just search for the packages that you want, that you're considering for your project. You find the correct one. In this case, this is it right here. And it gives you this overall package health score. Generally speaking, you want something that's like 70 or higher on a health score, because then that indicates to you that it's a well-rounded, robust package to be using. The community, there's a big community around it, a lot of uses around it, which means there should be good amount of support as well to make it sustainable for you and your project. And what's nice is it gives you all this information in a concise way up in the top right hand corner. But if you want to dive deeper into each category that's part of the criteria for that score, you can scroll down and look at more of those details and data behind it. And that is Snyk Advisor. Again, you could check it out, snyk.io/advisor. Really quick, so here's something cool it started doing is it's using curl to request Snyk Advisor for the package it's looking to check, and then gonna read the contents of that, I think, from the terminal and decide if it meets the requirements for the package to be used in this project. I like that. All right, it is done. And I am pretty impressed with the results because I was watching it as it was going through things, and it did a pretty good job, as I noted earlier, that it went and checked Snyk Advisor to see the package health score of packages it was considering using. It still managed to add CSRF in there. I'm not sure why, even though it should have checked Snyk Advisor to see the score of that is less than 70. It's like in the 50s or something like that. But it at least recognized that that ended up having a vulnerability in it because of the Snyk scan that it did, and then removed those and found an alternative approach to avoid cross-site request forgery, it seems. Right here, remove CSRF and cookie parser, no longer needed with bare auth, and that'll eliminate the transitive vulnerability in the cookie dependency, which was a child dependency of the CSRF module or package. In addition to that, because it didn't add a git ignore, Snyk code scans all the files in a project that you have open, and therefore will tell you all of the code vulnerabilities that are found in even things like your node modules, your dependencies, because it doesn't know what to ignore and what not to ignore without something like a git ignore file in here. And GPT-5 did not produce a git ignore, but thankfully it did notice that the security scans, dependency scan was clean after doing the removal of CSRF and cookie parser. And then the code scan noted that the remaining findings are in third-party modules, our node modules folder here, or environment dependent. So the app's own surface is minimized. It uses bearer JWT, strict cores, rate limits, validation, sanitizer, secure headers, and no secrets are hard-coded. So with that in mind, it seems like it did a pretty good job from my perspective using the tools available to it. Let's see if it runs. All right, so I got it running after setting some environment variables. I noticed that there is an HTML page, app.html, but when you look at the contents of it, it's really just a main landing page to tell you to use the API at /API. This minimal page is CSP hardened, so they put content security policy in here and then a meta tag, which is okay. It kind of works. It's kind of better than the other result that we got. The other thing that was interesting is what's health with the Z? Is the model trying to be slick? I don't know what that's about. Must have found that somewhere else and learned it. Very interesting. But for the most part, I think this is at least a step in the right direction at being better and more confident that the end result that you're getting from this is a little bit more secure, a little bit more production ready, thanks to the tools that were made available to it. So some things we can take away from this that are learnings. One, Cursor behaves differently than some of the other agentic coding tools that are out there, in that you have to explicitly tell it and give it that context of the tools it should be using, and some of the rules you have to add to the context. Plus, I got to add web search in there and enable that as part of the prompt before sending the prompt in. Whereas some of the other tools will just naturally or intuitively pick up on those things and either do it all automatically or prompt you and let you know like, hey, can I have permission to do this now? In addition to that, I noticed that even after I did enable the web search, there were some notes and logs messages from Cursor with GPT-5 indicating that it had limited capabilities in its web search. That's likely a good thing that Cursor is limiting its capabilities there. In this case, it luckily found an alternative way to search Snyk Advisor and websites for the information it needed to make decisions on those dependencies. So all in all, in conclusion, we can see that using GPT-5 with some security rules and an MCP server like Snyk will result in an app that is more production ready and secure. I'm curious though, what's been your experience using GPT-5? What are the MCP tools you might be using along with it? Let me know in the comments below. But on that note, that does it for this video. If you got value out of it, be sure to like it down below and share with somebody who could put it to use. And if you made it this far, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. Thanks for watching and happy, safe coding, everyone.